What's up, Joe 200? All right, what is today? Today is Sunday, August 25th, okay? And so we will be sending out these lectures, okay, that go over the module. You have weekly modules every week of this fall semester 2024, all right? So that's 14 times we're gonna do this, okay? Even though it's a 15-week semester, we're gonna do this 14 times, all right? Okay, so what are we going to do right here? I'm not going to go over the class like we did last time, but what I do want to do is start from the home page that's similar to yours. Now, one thing I got to change right here says John P. Walsh, okay? Once I get into my class, I want to view as a learner, okay? First thing, fall semester, these are my classes right here. So I'm going to go right into it, boom, like so. All right, there it is, okay? It says John P. Walsh as learner. Very cool. That means this is the view that you're going to get, okay? Alrighty. Also, why am I wearing this bright red t-shirt? See, this is a blood droplet, okay? And what you see here, okay, is kind of something that we all want to do in gerontology. We want to celebrate long lives. But see the CLL, that is a society that my wife Julia is a member of, okay? And she's a card-carrying member of having that form of leukemia, which is a blood cancer. We're going to go over cancer in this class, okay? The CLL stands for chronic lymphocytic leukemia. Right, awesome. So yeah, I always wear thematic shirts. You see me wear a lot of surfing shirts from all the places I've gone to my whole life, and also stuff like this that is personal. All right, so if you're new to this class, okay, I'm not going to go through how to navigate GERO 200 in Brightspace again because it's already been done here. All right, so if you're new, you just chronologically backpedal through the announcements. Right here, this is the very first announcement, as you see, okay? And what we will do is every week, all right, for every module, I'll have a lecture that will guide you through the assignments, which are the readings and the videos, and also what to do in the discussion. So I'm kind of a how-to for every module as well, all right? When we send these out to you via email, and we do so using this announcement page, so it's always going to be here, okay? You'll see that I'll send not only the URL, you see how this is lighting up right here, okay? That takes you right to our class. We have a class YouTube playlist, okay? And that's because you can use that in your PC and also on your phones. And then we embed the video in Brightspace, and that's what this is right here. So you can watch it within Brightspace. Okay, let's go like this, and you see it right there. Okay.
What's up, Joe 200?
Hey, that's me.
Semester 2024.
Awesome. Okay, so that embedded version does not show up on the email that we sent to you, and so that's why you'll always see both in there. All right, so we are week one, so we're going to go into the curriculum. That is week one. Okay, there's two different ways to do this. This is the table of contents that is visual with everything that gives you a little theme that's going on. All right, you can see that right there. Or you can just go into table of content right there, like I'm doing right there, and I clicked on it. Okay, it has a memory, so I was in week one, and so it took me right back to it. How do I know where I'm at in the table of contents? These are all different components of my table of contents, but this one right here, you see this with this shaded kind of blue background right here. That shows you where you're at and what you're in, okay? When we come over here, we see we have a couple of different components. My lecture is going to be right in here. So you will access this lecture by going into this. If I go into it right now, what are you going to see? There's nothing there because this has to go in there, right? All right, so you can either go backwards, like I did with my browser right there, or you can actually use the hot link that is in there. So I'll show you what I mean by that. You can go like this, and then this right here, I can just go like that, and it takes you backwards, okay? All right, to module one. Awesome, very cool. All righty, so what do we need to do, all right? Now, there's gonna be this discussion, okay? And as you can see, I posted something about myself, okay? And that's what you're supposed to do as well. And when you go into the course discussions, you do one primary post in response to the prompt that is in this discussion. They all kind of look like this. And then you do 3 additional posts where you comment on 3 different classmates. All right, and that's how you get full credit every single week. Awesome. Now you can also see that we have this reading quiz. Okay, now everybody's going to have their different approach. You might want to read through the material, watch the videos, and then do the quiz, or you might want to open the quiz ahead of time and look over the questions and then go ahead and go through the material. All right, so if I was going to be doing that second approach, I loaded it up right here. Okay, so we have my GERO 200 again. Okay, I'm going to go into right here. Okay, what I need to do, okay, in order to visualize the quiz, I have to not view as a learner. All right, so that's getting out of there. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my module 1. All righty, and I'm going to scroll down here. Here's module 1. Okay, I'm going to go into the quiz. Okay, this is not how it's going to look to you, but I just want to give you a feel of the quiz. I'm going to hit preview. All right, and all righty, I'm going to come down here and you see it says start quiz. That's something like you have. I hit start quiz. And there it is. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 multiple choice questions. So one approach is just to go through here and just kind of read through this. Now what we've done is we made it very clear what we're doing. Every single module, okay, which is basically a week, the assignment, we've created these 5 multiple choice quizzes that draw from a pool of about 30, 25, 30 questions. So, you know, you guys obviously can work together on this. There's no way for me to know, and it doesn't really matter. It's all good. But no 2 5-question quizzes are going to be the same because they're randomly drawing from the pool. Now, these are the assignments over here. We're going to see the assignments. So this tells you where to go to look. Okay. So we see leaving no one behind in an aging world. It's kind of reading, but mostly very visual. You'll see that I created a slide deck for this. Okay. And so 1, 2, 3 questions right here. And then this says right here, this is the video. So that tells you where the answer to this question is going to be. It's going to be from this video. Okay. That's how that's done. So you can have this open, look them all over, like I said, okay, all right, and then go actually into the module. Let's do that, okay? I want to see, make sure that I am viewing as a learner. I am, okay? And let's do this, okay? I'm in. There it is. All right, so this is your deal, guys. So there's the reading, okay, right here. So reading that I've typed in, it's instructional, okay. What we try to do here is, for example, right here in this video below, which you have to watch. It is amazing, okay. And the first 2 modules, so the first 2 weeks, so this module and next week's module, give you a grand overview of really the really important topics that cut across all different professional disciplines, okay? So if you're a lawyer, you're a businessman, you're a doctor, okay? You're a social scientist, you're a politician, okay? So it's a first exposure to all the really key elements, okay, guys? And then what we'll see later on as we go deeper into the course, you'll hear this again, but it'll be more directed at that particular professional specialty. So Julia is going to give 3 lectures on what it's like being a lawyer dealing with aging issues, okay? I'm going to give a couple lectures on some of the economics. I'm going to give lectures on some of the business aspects, okay? Personal financing parts. I'm going to give lectures on biology too, all right? So you're going to hear a lot of this over again. And the key to really having this become firmly part of your knowledge base so you can use it is repetition. And so you'll see that we'll go over this over and over and over again. So that background, watch this video. It's amazing. It's, you know, obviously it's really, really high production quality, and it goes over the kind of global political, economic issues that are associated with having many older people, and in terms of the percentile basis, fewer and fewer young people, and what it all means. Okay, so key topics. Okay, so there is this demographic. That's what when you count the number of people, and we look at percentages, how they're distributed, within each country. Okay, we look at it worldwide. Okay, so there is this transition that is never ending. Okay, and when I never say never ending, is people keep living longer. We have little blips like COVID where we take, the lifespan takes a hit, but for the most part, science has moved us forward. In fact, science got us out of that problem that was COVID. Okay, so you have older human populations. Um, one of the first countries, it's kind of the canary in the coal mine that had to deal with, is Japan. Okay, so there's a lot of discussion about what went down in Japan, and and some of the transitions solutions that they're having to come up with. Okay, alrighty. So and then it goes over some of the data. So this is kind of some of the stuff that you might have in your multiple choice questions. Okay, so 1 in 12 people over the age of 65 in 1950. Now it's 1 in 4 people by 2060. So your head should be exploding when you hear those numbers. Okay, going from 1 in 12 to 1 in 4. Okay, so this puts an enormous burden on you people, on younger people that have to care for older people, because like it or not, there is going to be this extended phase, okay, of dependency, okay, where I'm going to be very dependent on either my 2 kids, okay, or my community to help me out, because I'm having trouble in terms of kind of the simple things of managing life. Nobody wants to have that, but it is a part of the oldest old. Okay, alrighty. So when we look at this burden on younger people that are carrying, this is what's called the dependency ratio. This is how we calculate it. Okay, and it's the number of old people requiring help or care from young people, and they talk about it in this video. All right. Huge economic consequences, and you'll see this at the 3-minute mark. Okay, countries all around the world are just grappling with it. And we saw lots of riots in France recently because of the economics of it. And they had a pension system. This is a guaranteed income stream that the government guarantees. Okay, we don't have that so much. Okay, we have Social Security and its subsistence level. And so, because of potential economic collapse in the government, they were moving the age where you qualify to get this government pension. And people are like, no, I don't want to work after I'm 55. Okay. Here in the United States, we're going to be moving towards 70. Guarantee it's going to happen one of these days. Okay. Because of the finances. Okay. All righty. So, and another big economic look at this is retired people. Okay, we're not working. Okay, so we're going to pay less income taxes. Okay, we still pay income taxes when we spend our retirement income, but it's less than what we were doing when we were working. Okay, we don't spend as much. All right, so we're not traveling the world as much. We're not going out as much, etc. Okay. And the big one is most diseases. If you go into a hospital, you're going to see mostly older people in there. Okay, and so most diseases are age-related, and that's a huge cost. Okay, alrighty. So the video then, and they talk about, again, people. If I were to be retired, I'm less productive. Okay, so I'm not providing more financial resources to the well-being of my government. Okay, and this is a measure of the financial well-being of any country. It's called a gross domestic product. It's a combination of our manufacturing output, all the different resources that we're selling, cars, foods, etc., like that, and then also the part of the gross domestic product is our labor. Okay, and that resource that also makes money. Okay, all righty. Well, so the video then comes up with some solutions. Okay, these new companies that outsource, do outside contracts of people as they're older, and then more community-based healthcare that is more cost-effective. So very cool, right? So you guys should enjoy that. Okay, Then in here, we get into the details, okay? This is an enormous report, okay? I'm gonna streamline how we get through this. Don't worry about it, okay? Um, the actual total report, okay, down here, it's 161 pages, okay? Just think if I made you read that, okay? So what I did is I created a slide deck, okay? It's right here where I honed it down, okay? So for this first week, for this first module, module 1 right here, okay? We're gonna go through part 1, part 2, and part 3, okay? We're gonna look at the issues of an aging world, okay? Again, the demographics, where then we make social transitions to deal with this and accommodate it, okay? Much like when I was going through the system, California had to build a bunch of schools because there weren't enough schools to handle all the baby boomers, okay? And not only, then part 2 is not only living longer, but how can we make for healthier lives so we're less of a burden to you as an individual and to our communities and country financially, okay? Don't, have me keep going in and having to tap into my healthcare, all right? Stay healthy, all right? And so then we look at this in terms of economics, okay? Um, and the fairness and equity that is happening across generations, and that's how it finishes up. All right, guys. So that's the drill right there. Okay. So this is for the aficionado. Maybe you have to do some reports someday. You know, that's there. It's an amazing resource put out by the United Nations. Okay. All righty. This is kind of an overview of the demographics. Oh, hi there. Guess what? Somebody's at the door. Tell them I'm giving a lecture and tell them we don't want any. How's that sound? So, welcome to live recordings. So, yeah. Thanks. Bye. Isn't that hilarious? I think they're trying to sell me something I don't want. Okay. All righty. All right, so we look at the demographics, okay? We're gonna look at population by age group, okay? And we see over here, this is the actual raw numbers, okay? And it's millions and millions of people, okay? And we see the transition that went from 1950 to 2000 to 2050. And what you see is that little slice of pie right here, 65 and older, and you see it's growing and growing and growing, okay? And what else do we see when we look at that, okay? We see the biggest slice of the pie down here, 44% were young people in the 50s. That was me, baby boomers, okay? And we're seeing that, yes, in terms of absolute numbers, and that, yeah, there's more young people, okay? But on a percentile basis, there's less percentage-wise young people compared to right here, the much older people, okay? Older people right there, sorry, all right? Less younger, more older, okay? So that means a future of an imbalance in terms of support. All right, let's go into the slide deck and look at this a little more clearly. Now, you have two options, okay, my friends? You can use this tool and we can glide through it like so, or you can download the actual file right here, okay? So what I'm gonna do here, and you can just put it on your computer and then that way you can read it at your own pace. Like I said, what I did is I honed this down, okay, in a manageable way. What are we doing? We're doing in terms of no one leaving no one behind in an aging world, okay? This 2023 report. What we're doing is we're going to look at this part here. The first week, we're going to look at part 1, parts 2, and part 3, like I said, okay? Now, in terms of the data, where is it all coming from? The data came from, I'm going to move this guy out of the way here so I can see, okay, this group called the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD, and you'll hear this over and over again, okay? And it required a lot of participation, okay, cooperation and collaboration, okay, working together, and a lot of financing to gather the data and put the data into a useful place where people that are interested in this type of information can access the data, analyze it, and make predictions, okay? But the whole point of this is where we're at right now. Let's make predictions so that down the line we can really be better able to handle what's going to happen. Okay, all righty. So these countries that were involved in this OECD countries are the developed countries. Okay, these are countries that have excellent market-based economies, okay? And they are, as you see down here, these are high-income economies, okay? We're going to be doing some comparisons. We're going to actually, your first paper that's coming up down the pike is a short paper, 2 to 3 pages written, and then in addition some figures where you're going to compare the U.S. to maybe one other developed country from this OECD, and then one country that has a developing economy that's not doing so well. Okay, and we'll see how it all plays out. All righty. Okay. So why is this important? Okay. Policy dialogues between governments. Okay. It's important for not only government, public, but also private enterprises, businesses, etc. Okay, and then where we can go in terms of giving back to the community. All righty, very cool. All right, so this I love each first chapter has the key points. Okay, so like we saw already here, raw numbers. Okay, people over 65 years of age. Okay, projected to more than double, rising from, and this is crazy to think about this, that we go from in 2021, okay, 760 million to a time frame that is within your guys' lifespan, 2050, it's going to double, right, to 1.6 billion people, okay, and that's over 65, and the people over 80 years of age are going to be on a percentile basis even greater. So, and there's a lot that goes on with that. A lot of caregiving, a lot of support that's going to be needed. All right, awesome. Okay, what's happening in here? Okay, so when we look at populations in any countries, okay, there is this trend towards longer lives. Okay, boom. Okay, why is that? Okay, because back in the day, for example, if you had leukemia, the kind of leukemia Julia had, you had a very short lifespan. Okay, but now science and medicine allows us to treat these diseases, and you live longer. Okay, we have better information about the importance of good nutrition, better information about the importance of exercise. Okay, and all these contribute to having a happier, longer life, hopefully. Okay, cardiovascular disease used to be, a death sentence. Not anymore. We have all kinds of treatments for this. Treatments for diabetes, on and on. This contributes to longer lives. We developed a vaccine against infectious diseases. Okay, there's a polio vaccine. Okay, I got the vaccine against typhoid from when I go down to Costa Rica. Okay, we got a vaccine against COVID so that people are not dying. Remember, we had almost 2 million people die before we, ultimately. But once we got the vaccine for COVID, it really put the brakes on the death rate. Okay, all right, awesome. That's point one. Point two is these are really tough competitive times. Okay, and it was a lot easier for me to get a job when I was younger. I could see it in my kids and all my friends' kids that are college educated. It's tough out there. Okay, and so people your guys' age are getting your act together, trying to get a good job, and ultimately having smaller families. Okay, it's just the change in the life course. In my generation, people had 6 kids, and your generation, you might only have 1. You might elect to have none. Okay, so that's what's going down right here. All right, so this is coined fertility. Okay, so that means fertility rate is falling in all the developed countries, and right behind it are the developing countries at the little lag there, because they have more kind of economies that are more agriculture, economies that are more manufacturing based, needing a lot more hands-on. Okay, all righty. And there's other cultural parts beyond that. Okay, and so what happens is fertility drops, and there's a decline in younger people, and then the shares of working adults, okay, and eventually older people go up. All right, so that's where we're at right here. Okay, anything else? No. All right, so more consequences. Okay, in terms of our preparing socially, women live longer than men. Okay, so they comprise the majority of older persons. All right, men tend to die much earlier from cardiovascular disease, diabetes, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, all righty. So when you are making preparation for this, you have to think about this sex-based inequity in terms of older age people, okay? And so what's happening is we had this conventional measurement of population, such as, remember, the dependency ratio, okay? And the dependency ratio is used as this indicator, okay? A litmus, a proxy, as they indicate here, of changes in the economy that are effectively having a lot more older people, okay? You look at your family, okay? Maybe you're a single and only child, okay? You have an auntie, you have an uncle, you have your mom and dad, your grandparents, suddenly all that burden's on you. That is an economic disaster, okay? All righty, cool. All right, so let's look here. This just reiterates the facts that we looked at right here. So we're going, from 2021 to 2050, doubling, more than doubling of people over age 65. And you can see here that there is a tripling in the people that are 80 years in age. And that's financially a huge drain. You have to remember that, okay? More healthcare costs, more need of just day in and day out assistance, okay? These are called activities of daily living. Maybe I'm not going to be able to drive when I'm 85. Maybe I'm going to live till I'm 100, but those last 15 years, I need somebody, luckily we have DoorDash, okay? We have Grubhub, we have things like that, okay? But still, nonetheless, I'm going to need help cleaning my house. I'm going to need help mowing the lawn. I don't do that anymore, but taking out the trash, you get the idea, okay? So that burden goes up and up and up as we get older. This is just a kind of image-based view of what's going on, okay? So when you look at 1 in 10 over the age of 65, okay, in 2021, 2050, 1 in 6. Now, you're going to see different numbers. Remember, we saw in The Economist, they said 1 in 4. So you just have to make sure that in terms of when you're looking at a source that it could be source dependent, all right? All right, so we're looking at the oldest countries in the world. So they're the ones that are having to make the adjustments. So that right there is the beta, okay, if you want to call it, okay? So just like with Brightspace, okay, we had a couple pilot courses, okay? These are the pilot countries, okay, that we can all look to saying, okay, you went through it, what did you do right, what did you do wrong, okay? So we're looking at the oldest countries, okay? So in 1980, Sweden, okay, had the highest share of people that were over the age of 65, okay? In this case, it was 16%, okay? 2021, Japan, 30%, okay? In 2050, okay, Republic of South Korea is going to have 40% of their population over the age of 65. So they're going to be the oldest, the predictions, they'll be the, based on a percentile basis, the oldest country in the world, okay? All right. And then this looks at this by region and the transitions, okay? So this is the world, okay, right here, going from 1980 in purple, green is 2021, okay, and the prediction to 2050, okay? And again, we're looking in millions of people right here, all right? So you see worldwide is a big transition, but what the real point of this graph is to look at different regions that are going to have the biggest changes, okay? So we can look right here. This is Europe and North America. They globbed us together with France and Germany and Spain and Greece, etc., because we're kind of our older, more developed countries, so we are all we transition through these phases earlier, okay? And so we can see that it's not as stark a change going from purple to green to gray. It's still there. We still have issues, but then you can look to these other countries and you just go, wow, okay? Huge changes in Eastern and Southeastern Asia. So this would be Vietnam, Thailand, etc., countries like that, okay? China is part of this, okay? You see that the large numbers, okay? Taiwan, they're all included in this, okay? The other place that we see a huge transition is in Africa, okay? This is Northern Africa, big change here, but Southern Africa here, okay? This is Australia, not as many people down here, okay? And then they glob together Latin America and the Caribbean right there. All right, so you can see, and anywhere you see large numbers, you see large problems, and that's kind of the point of that. All right, guys? And again, this is just on my end, some notes in terms of what it all means, okay? All righty. All right, so this is just a different way of looking at this, okay? And you can see how quickly these transitions happen, okay? So this figure is very similar to 1.1, okay? Showing this, showing the historical change. The bar graph in the previous figure looked at 3 time points, and this is looking at multiple time points, okay? And that's all about. So what's important stuff to look at, okay? Here's world in black, okay? How about us again? All right, Europe and North America, we can come back up here, okay? And we're looking at this. This was different in that we were looking here at raw numbers of people that are over the age of 65. All right, that's what this is right here. And now we're looking over here at the economic thing that we're talking about, okay? This is on this axis right here, the economic dependency ratio, the number of people that are over the age of 65, okay, put on the numerator, okay, and the denominator, okay, so the ratio is then going to be younger people, okay, that are working age right here, okay. So it shows you the dependency, and you can see it goes up and up and up and up and up right here worldwide. This is the United States and Europe right there, transition from 2020 to 2050. But you see, we were already ascending. Okay, what other countries? Australia, New Zealand. These are developed regions of the world. Okay, and then you can see down here regions that have lagged. Oceania. This is like Fiji and other kind of, I should know some of the other crazy small countries out there, Vanuatu, other small regions, okay? But if we look here, for example, this purple right here, again, this is Africa. So sub-Saharan, this is below Northern Africa, in, where in, Nigeria, Niger, Congo, all those places like that, okay? And what we see here is there's a lot more young people, okay? The fertility rate is higher, okay? But they are transitioning upward as well, okay? So that's what this is all about right there, okay? Awesome. This then is the same thing, a table that looks at individual countries, okay? Time points right here, and the actual raw numbers, okay? So we're looking at the percentage of people over age 65. So this is just a reiteration of figure 1, looking at the raw numbers, but now you're looking at percentages, okay? First one was millions, this is percentages, okay? The figure 2 that we looked at was the economics of the dependency ratio, how many old people compared to young people that were supporting them, okay? All right, so that's what those are all about, okay? And so we can see here, and like I said, numero uno was Sweden, okay? We saw that before, okay, in that graphic. And then 2021 was Japan, and you can see the countries that trailed behind it. And then we see here that the percentage of people over the age of 65, this is globbing together China, Hong Kong, okay? And then this is looking at Korea alone, all right? All righty, very cool. All right, let's continue on with our mission, but you can look at where different countries are, okay? All right, this is graphically looking at this dependency ratio concept again. The gold line, okay, the orange line is the overall dependency ratios, okay? And then, and this, again, this is a global look right here, okay? All right, so this is global population and showing the transition that's happening. So right here, what was going on there, man? Well, let's take a look right there, see? All right, this was the 50s and 60s, baby boomers, okay, where there were a ton of youngsters right in here, okay? So So yes, there was a big increase in dependency ratio, but it was you were having to raise a lot more kids. There weren't that many older people around, and that's what's in gray. Okay, this is all the working age. Okay, what is the working age, my friends? Age 20 to 64. This is age 65. Okay, and this again, like I said, this is the total dependency ratio. Okay, so we see right here that it was very high, and then I got a job. Okay, and I'm killing it, okay? But then more and more older people, less and less children, and what did we say? It's ticking up. How is it ticking up? There's no kids. It's ticking up because there's more old people that need a lot more help, all right? Either way, raising kids, dealing with your older parents, it's time and it's money, okay? All right, awesome. Okay, um, again, this is the same drill. Okay, this is the economic old age dependence ratio, and it's just looking at it in a different way. All right, awesome. Okay, this is another way of looking at the transitions of populations. Remember, we said there were very few, so this was a long time ago. Lots of young people. This is working age, and this is older people. We see there's more women than men in the older people area, more women than men here. But what has happened as we're going from, say, when I was a child, okay, so this would be I was born in 56, so this is in the 60s, okay, lots and lots of kids. Um, Overall distribution, okay, this is on a percentile basis because it's not raw numbers, okay, but the percentile basis, and we see that what's happening is all of a sudden there's fewer younger people. This would be like in the 90s, and then here we are in the late 2020s, maybe 2030. All right, so we see that few young people. This is what the working age population looks like, and you see a lot more older people. All right, that's called an age pyramid. Okay. Um, so we see this right here, this transition of very few young people, young dependents, and we can see right here the fertility rate, okay, per population. So fertility is defined as the number of children for women 15 to 49. These are the fertile years, okay? And we can see here that transitioning, okay, from 1950 to 2040, okay? So we see here Europe, okay, had a fairly low fertility rate that boom, plummeted right here, okay, early on. This right here is Africa, really high fertility rate, and still even to this day has a fairly high fertility rate. This is 5 children per woman, okay? That's how you read this, okay? Back here it was 7, okay? Northern Africa, all right? So this would be Libya, Egypt, all those kind of places right here, okay? All right, and Morocco, like saying, so we see they transitioned out earlier, okay? What else do we have here? Latin America and the Caribbean, okay? So you see they were double our fertility rate all through this region right here to the 80s and 90s, and now they're coming down, okay? All righty, so less working population is what that means, okay? On a distribution basis, and less people to support older people, okay? And that becomes huge when we're looking at caregiving. Here's a couple of really cool articles I thought that you might look at. So what's happening is not only is there a much lower fertility rate, but people aren't getting married. People aren't finding boyfriends and girlfriends, okay? Because there's on a percentile basis, there's less people around, and so there's a lot of social isolation. So this was a really cool NPR story. You can click on and go check it out. Just about this phenomena of hermits, okay, and people living alone, and how tough it is. And then they also talk about the job market and how tough it is, okay? Tough times, guys. This is why it's really important for you guys to understand this information, because you got to be competitive out there in the job market. It is so hard to get a good job right now, and so this information that you're going to gain from this class is going to help you no matter what professional track you choose. Believe me, okay? Alrighty, so. So what's happening, okay? If we don't have enough fertility, but I need somebody to do some coding, or I need somebody to go pick peaches from my peach trees in Georgia, I know the answer. How about immigration, all right? And that's what's going down, okay? So we have all hands on deck, a solution to economic growth is through immigration, okay? And so, this is obviously a political, very, very much so a hot topic, and there's not an easy solution, okay? But we definitely, if you're running a business, you need somebody to work in your business, okay? So, what happens if you have more international migrants, okay? This lowers the old age dependency ratio. We now have more people in society that can now help in terms of caring for older people. And you see this over and over again when you look at different agencies, different professions that care for older people. It is a very clear reality that immigrants are the people that do these jobs, okay? Whether it's home care, okay, it's immigrants, or if you're working at an assisted living facility, a nursing facility, which is more high-level care, by far it is recent immigrants that take on these jobs. Part of it, sadly, is because they're low-paying, but it is a solution to the problem, okay? All right, so we see here, right here, in 2020, okay, always looking backward, 20% of our working age population in our country were recent immigrants, okay, and 10% of those people over the age of 65 were also immigrants. All righty, very cool. All right. Alrighty, so these little boxes are just little highlights of information that are important, okay? So from tax credit to baby bonuses, countries concerned about lower fertility offer support for bearing and rearing children. So that's solution number 2, all right? We are gonna have immigration for a hardy workforce that's gonna support all the different needs that we have in society. I mean, like I said, not only just caring for older people, but we have grown accustomed to having an amazing diet here in this country. But somebody has to go out in those fields and pick the different fruits. Tech is beginning to make its way in there, but not enough of an inroads. We all love going out to eat, right? All right. We need people to take on these low-paying jobs, and it's sad, but that's how people immigrate. They start, and then they build from an opportunity, and then take it to the next level. All right, so that's solution 1. Solution 2 is we need to figure out a way to have more children, okay, to make it better and easier for our people that are citizens of our country, whether it's Belgium or the United States, to want to have children, okay? So we see that fertility is hovering below the replacement rate, okay, for 124 of the 236 countries or areas that were surveyed in this developed country, economically sound country category, okay? All right, so why? Why aren't people having kids? So the big one is it's incompatible to have a career and a family life. It sucks. I mean, we're the same drill. I met Julia. She was 20 years old. I was almost 27. All right. 4.5 years later, we got married. Okay. And then you think, okay, it's time for children. But we came from relatively poor backgrounds. I wanted to make it financially and become secure. And I couldn't do it alone on my professor salary. So, and Julia also just as an individual wanted a career and wanted to rise above. She came from New Orleans, from a middle-class family, and so we waited. So we waited 8 years additional to have our first child. So even though I met her when she was 30, she didn't have her first child till she was almost 33. Okay, I was 49. Okay, I met her when I was, 39, sorry. I was 39. Like I said, I met her when I was 27. So we waited 12 and a half years. We ended up having 2 kids. This is what you guys do as well. All right. So it's a major driver of low fertility is the economic reality of trying to make it in a high-powered, developed, but very competitive workplace situation in your country. Not the greatest word. Okay. So how about we create policies that allow men and women to have children, all right? tax credits, child family allowances. So you hear this being spoken about for the current election, okay? It's not that easy, obviously. One president doesn't do that. You have many, many, many different spokes to how our government's run. You got to get Congress on board, you got to get the Senate on board, and we have the Supreme Court, all right? So getting all those to work together is obviously, it's checks and balances, but it's also, the inertia. It's very hard to get things to change, okay? But we look at these high income countries, France, Hungary, Japan, South Korea, okay? And they've adopted very clear policies, all right, to increase fertility levels, okay, such as tax credits, such as family allowances, extended family leave. These are all different policies that help, okay? All right, so in developed countries, we have family-oriented policies, all right? Um, we have this thing called the maternity capital in Russia. Russia's got a huge problem. People have fled Russia for years, okay? And so they have a big replacement issue, all right? Sweden provides cash benefits for you to have children, okay? Norway provides high quality childcare. We're going to get into that later on. We suck in that level, okay? So these are all different social logic measurements, okay, that are government policy based, okay? Alrighty, we want a better balance. We want guaranteed income security, okay? And this will have some fiscal sustainability if we get around to it. All right, so that's what that's all right. So bottom line, guys, what do we have here, okay? We have low fertility, okay, in the US and countries around the world that are fully developed, okay? People are living longer. Countries need to come up with a plan to create an incentive for people like you to have children or to improve the conditions for immigration. It is what it is. You know, to run a business, we need more young people because more young people stimulates economic growth and reduces the burden for caring for older people. You know, if you have three brothers, okay, so you're from a family of four, then you can distribute who's going to take care of your parents' finances, who's going to take care of your parents driving them to and from the doctor, who's going to take care of basic house duties, on and on and on. If that's all on you, that's time. And you know what time is? Time is money. That means it's time that you're not working, so you're going to earn less income. All right? These are huge issues, okay? All right, so what we got to do too, and you see this all the time, all right? There's all kinds of business promotion, okay? When we look at all the different health insurance companies about we not only have people living longer, but we need them to live healthier, okay? And there's a lot of diversity and disparities, okay, that exist in terms of, you know, I have access to unbelievable groceries and food down here. Exercise is unlimited. The walking paths, etc. This is socioeconomic. Okay, so it's a real unfair part. Sorry, men live fewer years than women, but since women are older, living longer, they're going to have a lot more disease. That's what morbidity means. Okay, and disease means disability. Okay, so you're more limited in what you're able to do. Okay. Alrighty, so that's a big problem, right? Let's go back up here, look at the overview right here. There's this uneven access to affordable quality healthcare. It's been a hot ticket item forever, okay? Whether it was, you know, and this has been, you know, for 50 years. It's forever, you know. 50 years doesn't even put a true bracket on it. It became really political when President Obama was able to, along with his many members of his team, push through the Affordable Care Act, okay? And it made for easier access to more quality health care for people that were of lower socioeconomic status. And it was huge, okay? We'll see later on, Julia actually wrote a letter to President Obama, and then he talked about her in his speech, which was amazing because she had cancer. And prior to the Affordable Care Act, what would happen? Your insurance company would drop you, or you would hit an annual cap. Her first year of care for when she had her initial treatment of cancer almost 8 years ago, that first year of care was about $400,000. All right, $400,000. Prior to the Affordable Care Act, her annual limit would have been exceeded, and then we would have had to take out a loan to pay for her health care. Affordable Care Act made that illegal, right? On and on and on. So yes, so we've got to do better with her health care. Alrighty, so this kind of goes and looks at the life expectancy, and we heard, yes, during COVID our life expectancy dropped because this infectious disease was killing off people right and left, and more so older people. We're looking at here, this is purple, this is women's life expectancy by year. So based on, and these are algorithms, okay, that statisticians, okay, work with population biologists, also called epidemiologists, and they figure out what should you, if you were born that year, how long should you live, okay? And we see here the life expectancy at age 60, okay? How many more years you have at age 60. All right, so in 2000, women were expected to live an additional 20 years, so they would live to 80, okay? And we see down here, men are right here in green, you see right there. So men were, over 10 years less, okay? So they were about 15 years less life expectancy, all right? All right, we see that both men and women, the life expectancy has gone up based on better nutrition, better information on exercise, and really better medical method for treating the diseases, the morbidities that people have, okay? Now that being said, okay, what's the quality of life like, okay? So this is health adjusted life expectancy, okay? So these are the additional years of healthy life, okay? So you may live longer, but your healthy life, see the big disparity right here? So this is the bummer. This is what has to be tackled. These are all the years of disability. And what we see, sadly, is people are living longer, but we're seeing this separation between the light purple and the dark purple, and that you're having many more years of unhealthy living. It's a bummer. It's a bummer. More likely to have cancer, diabetes, disabilities, arthritis, things like that. So that's the challenge, okay? Because when you have this big disparity, you're going to have lots of economic burden. All right. So we're looking right here. All right, survival to older age has become more common worldwide. Okay, we see that. Okay, so we're looking at the gain in life expectancy. Okay, again, this is graphically showing things here, similar to what we saw in the previous figure, going from 1950. We have to compare 1950 to 1921. In those 71 years, there's been this gain worldwide of 25 years. So that's a huge thing. All right, we're rounding the corner here. What does it mean, okay, in terms of the economy and the equity between generations, okay? That equity between generations is a tough one for sure, okay? So young and old people, all right, we're consumers, all right? We're eating food, we're needing medical care, actually more so than you do. Kids have a lot of medical care, okay? And older adults have a lot of medical care, okay? But we don't produce any new income to society, all right? So they consume more than they produce labor or production of goods, all right? So that's a negative, okay? We're gonna, a lot of the way it's looked is you look at the bank account of our country is the gross domestic product, or GDP, and it's a combination of labor income and productivity of goods, okay? And the more we have older people, the more it sucks the life out of the GDP, okay? All right, so what else do we see here, okay? Aging societies face fiscal challenges. These are financial challenges due to the rising cost of healthcare. It is what it is. It's crazy. Remember how much Julie's cancer costs, her cancer care costs? Crazy, almost 400 grand, all right? That's insane, okay? I had orthopedic surgeries, 60K here, 100K there. That's my Achilles heel, is I'm an athlete, and so I've had, since I was 60 years of age, I've had total knee replacement and 2 shoulder surgeries, all right? So I'm in. Again, it's costly, okay? The insurance companies then redistribute their cost benefit by charging you guys more, all right? All right, so aging societies face this rising healthcare costs, okay? Long-term care, that's another one, okay? What if I can't function in this house anymore, okay? Either somebody's got to come to help me next door during their last month when they were really disabled. Somebody was coming full time to live with this great older couple, but they were really messed up. It was $400 a day, okay, out of pocket, okay. So long-term care is a huge one. Retirement and old age support costs. These are what I'm talking about. You better have good retirement, okay. All right, and what's happening is if we reduce the relative workforce, then we have less tax going into the system to pay for things like Medicare and Social Security. All right. Women's labor force participation is traditionally lower than men's, and it still is. Okay. This gender gap creates huge problems. Okay. Women do the majority of the unpaid work. Okay, women are the by far like 64 the caregivers that care for older people. Oh, there's the star of the show. There he is. Hey, do you want to say hi? Hi, buddy. That's my boy Desi. I think we saw Lucy on my first video. This is my boy Desi. He's been sleeping all day. He's a good dog, though. Yeah, the buddy. All right. That's a big part of caregiving, man. Psychological support, having the unconditional love of your buddy. All right. Okay. Awesome. All right. So, you know, what are the big problems? Okay. Women receive less pensions. They have less 401ks. Okay. And so this needs to be transformed to get rid of this gender slash sex-based differences. All right. Awesome. Okay, so let's look at this economics, labor force participation of consuming versus producing, okay? I'm sucking the country dry, okay? If I'm still working, so I'm good, okay? But when I retire, then I'm gonna be pulling out resources, okay? But I still cost a lot of money, and that's the bottom line right there, okay? So we're gonna, here, I'm gonna reduce this guy a little bit so we can see him, all right? And you can do this too, all right? So we're gonna go, because I wanna get the full breadth of this figure, right? This is the percentage of males and females in the workforce for each age group, female and male, okay? So what do we see here? We see this sex-based disparity, all right? So you can see that women lag behind men at every single age group in terms of labor force or workforce participation, all right? That's a huge issue. That's a huge financial issue, all right? Okay, now we look right here, okay? And we're looking at the consumption, okay? So how much I spend to stay alive, all right? Versus my input into the financial well-being, meaning me getting an income, and also my income generates taxes that then makes my government better off, okay? So it's both at the individual level and the whole big picture society level, all right? So we see right here, when you're young, you consume a lot, okay? All of a sudden, here you are, you're a teenager, you get a car, you're out partying, blah, blah, blah. So you're spending, and you're not producing at all, okay? And this is actually shifted, okay? It's much harder for you guys, so you're spending more time in training and less time in the workforce here. You're going to be expected to spend more time in the workforce here, and that's what this labor income is, all right? So you go from a part of individual economy, but also society levels commodity where you're kind of a drain, okay? So you're sucking the life out of the economy right here. Then you're very, very productive, and then you become a drain, okay? And this is a combination of just healthcare, food, services. These are all costs, okay? Alrighty, let's look at healthcare, all right? And this is looking at 2019 and 2020. So it's a small window, okay? And we're looking at the total expenditure on healthcare as a share of the economic well-being, all right? So we're looking at how much people spend in the US right here as a percentage of so you could look at this as an individual and your paycheck. Okay, we look at all 330 million of us and the gross domestic product of our country, which is the economic well-being of our country. What do you see when you look at the United States in comparison to everybody else? Okay, we are out of control here in terms of healthcare. Right here it is. Again, depending on the country, as you spend more and more money on healthcare, you see these are all very well developed countries, so you're going to have great healthcare. It's going to cost you. Okay, and we see this transition right here from 2019 to 2020. Okay, it's growing. So it costs more and more money for good healthcare. But look at us. We are outliers out here. We spend so much. We're like 2 to 4 percentage points greater than these other developed countries. So this is why we hear about it so much politically. Why it's such a hot ticket item. All right. We're rounding the bend here. Okay. Let's look at the economy, and we'll compare right here. Us, developed countries, us, France, Germany, Switzerland, okay, all the great countries that have really sound economics. And then we look down here in developing countries, countries like Guatemala, Mexico, Thailand, etc., stuff like that. Okay, alrighty. So in terms of the individual income, okay, what is most important? So we see here, this is the transfer of gifts and wealth. So believe it or not, that's a small amount in our country, okay? And we see that it's, this is across these age groups, from 55 to 59 to 80 and above, all right? All righty. Now, if we were to look at somebody in their 20s and 30s, you might see more transfer of wealth, okay? Because when I die, my kids are going to get all this, okay? So that's called death equity. All righty. So what else do we have here? Funds like Social Security benefits, okay? So plays a bigger role here, and out here is less of a role. Pensions are the big one, and they have globbed together the traditional pensions that government workers work, as well as self-funded 401k programs. So this is where most of the money comes from as you get older, to finance your well-being, okay? Some people work, here I am, I'm 68, so I'm part of this group right here. I will probably be out here to about 72, okay? And then you see right here, this is capital investment for those people that have money and invest in things like real estate, and take money and invest it into brokerage accounts. We'll learn about those in the stock market, okay? Those are separate from the 401ks. All right, now we look over here and we see a big change here. Developing countries right here and developed. You see right here, much more reliant on money being passed. So immigrants will send money back to these individuals so they can survive, okay? The other thing we see here, this is the 401ks and pensions, next to nothing, okay? We see here that they're a little bit more reliant on social benefits like Social Security, okay? And they have to work. People have to work in these developing countries, all right? All right, when looking at, that's something to think about in terms of the economics worldwide, okay? We look at the fiscal burden, okay? That are going to be changing in our countries, okay? So I can give you a little, all right? Due to things like pensions and Social Security, okay? So these increasing burdens right here, okay? Luxembourg, okay? Belgium, okay? Ireland, these are the countries that they haven't come up with a solution, it's spiraling out of control. And then these are countries going from 2018 to 2060 that are predicted to, first of all, they're lower populations, so people are dying off, and they're coming up with solutions. That's Germany, France, Denmark, etc. Okay, awesome. Okay, so the last part is in terms of the economic well-being. Too often when we look at the individual economic well-being and expand that to the society level, okay, so our communities, and then at our whole country level, the gross domestic product, there's a whole unpaid work that is a huge factor, okay? Big gender difference, and that is caregiving for older people, okay? We see this in developing countries, that it makes up about 20% of the work spent, okay, the time spent working. Okay, it's more, like I said, time spent with women. 20% of their time, instead of working 100% of the time, 20% of their times, I'm rounding up at 17.3, is for caring for dependents. Okay, and it's about the same between developed and developing countries. Okay, and the problem is um, this unpaid care, which is indeed work, is not considered when we're looking at the economics that it really needs to. And so that's what this is all about. We really, really, really need to think about um, that unpaid care and how what it means in terms of the overall financial well-being of individuals and society as a whole. I mean, it's a big deal. You know, I had a flexible job. I didn't have a flexible job when my mom was old and the wheels were coming off the bus. I was spending so much time going up and seeing my mom and helping her out. My brothers were doing it as best they could, you know. Um, but if I had a job where I had to time clock in and sit there at the desk and time clock out, I would have had to have taken time off from work to go help my mom, which means it would have been a huge economic burden for me. This is a big deal. Okay. All righty. All right, so solutions, okay? We're going over this again, all right? Here's our solutions, and I just talked about it right up here. You can read this if you like, okay? We got to increase economic growth, okay? One thing we have to do is we got to increase gender parity. And so where, what regions of the world is this huge, okay, that it has to happen, all right? Right here, okay? So this would have the biggest impact in these different regions. So we see here that in Western Asia, so this is, places like um, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, all this, there needs to be better parity. There would be huge growth if there was parity, okay? Raising retirement age, okay? This is us right here, the developed countries. So we have better gender parity than they do, but right here, that is huge. And then immigration as another solution right here. It just all kind of depends. All righty, cool. All right, so the take-home message, and this talks about Japan using technology. All right, so what do we need here? We need increased labor force participation for women to make it easier for women to work. We need older people to work longer, and then we need to reduce the barriers for immigration for skilled labor. All right, that's it. Awesome. Okay, guys, we are done with parts 1, 2, and 3. This is a lot of information. Future weeks are going to be honed down, but it is what it is. But you guys are going to learn so much in this class. It's awesome. All right. Peace. And we are going to see you guys next time.